Pakistan and Saudi Arabia have just signed a historic defense pact, and it's one of the most significant geopolitical shifts we've seen in years. The agreement is simple on paper but massive in impact. If either country faces external aggression, the other will respond militarily. For many analysts, this sounds like a mini NATO-style guarantee. But the real question is, what does this mean for South Asia, for India, and for the broader balance of power in the Gulf? Stay with me, because this pact could reshape alliances. Riyadh and Islamabad jointly announced the Strategic Mutual Defense Agreement. While Pakistan and Saudi Arabia have always had close ties, this is the first time it has been put into a formal security framework. In the past, Pakistan's troops have guarded Saudi royal palaces and even the holy cities of Mecca and Medina. But this is different. It locks both nations into each other's military strategies. For Saudi Arabia, this is about hedging its bets in a volatile Middle East. With tensions with Iran simmering, instability in Yemen still ongoing, and doubts about Washington's long-term commitment, Riyadh wants a reliable partner. Pakistan provides exactly that: manpower, military expertise, and a symbolic Islamic ally. By signing this deal, Saudi Arabia is signaling that it will not only rely on the United States to protect its security. For Pakistan, the motivations are equally clear. Its economy is in deep trouble, heavily dependent on Saudi loans, oil, and remittances. A pact like this strengthens its bargaining power, boosts the prestige of its military establishment at home, and reminds the world that Islamabad still matters in regional geopolitics. The Pakistani army, which dominates domestic politics, can now claim it is not just defending its borders, but also a trusted protector of the wider Islamic world. It is both a lifeline and a power move. Now, let's talk about India. Officially, Riyadh has said this agreement does not affect its ties with New Delhi. And on the surface, that's true. Saudi Arabia and India have strong energy, trade, and infrastructure partnerships. But India cannot ignore the risks. First, this creates the possibility of a two-front strategic challenge: Pakistan on one side and a stronger Saudi-Pakistan axis on the other. Second, energy security comes into play. India imports nearly 1/5 of its crude oil from Saudi Arabia. Any political chill could threaten that. Third, there is the diaspora factor. Over 2 million Indians live and work in Saudi Arabia, and they send back billions in remittances. If relations sour, it could directly affect livelihoods. At the same time, India has leverage too. Saudi Arabia needs Indian markets, technology, and skilled workers. So while this pact may look threatening, it also forces Riyadh to balance carefully between Islamabad and New Delhi. Regionally, this pact shakes up the game for Iran, China, and even the United States. For Iran, this is bad news. After slowly rebuilding ties with Riyadh in recent years, the idea of Saudi Arabia committing itself militarily to Pakistan, a country that has historically tilted against Tehran, will be seen as a provocation. For China, this could be an opening. Beijing already has huge influence in Pakistan through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. And with Saudi funding, China could deepen defense cooperation indirectly. And for the U.S., it's a dilemma. On one hand, a stronger Saudi-Pakistan alliance counters Iran. On the other, it weakens Washington's grip on Riyadh and gives both countries more room to maneuver outside the American sphere of influence. So what happens next? There are 3 possible scenarios. In the first, the pact stays mostly symbolic, with Saudi Arabia balancing ties with Pakistan while keeping its strong partnership with India intact. In the second, the pact evolves into real military cooperation, joint exercises, weapons sales, and intelligence sharing that could force India to rethink its Gulf outreach. And in the third scenario, a regional conflict, perhaps between Iran and Saudi Arabia, actually activates the pact, pulling Pakistan into a war that could destabilize the entire region. The wild card here is Tehran's response. Will Iran quietly accept this, or will it try to forge new security partnerships of its own in retaliation? At the end of the day, this agreement is more than just another defense deal. It reflects the new reality of global geopolitics. Countries no longer wait for NATO or Washington to guarantee their security. Instead, they are building their own blocs, their own mini alliances, and their own survival strategies in a multipolar world. For India, the challenge is clear. Strengthen ties with Saudi Arabia quickly before Islamabad uses this pact to tilt Riyadh closer to its side. So what do you think? Is this pact a genuine game changer for South Asia? Or is it just symbolic paperwork dressed up as strategy? I'd love to know where you stand on this. And if you found this breakdown useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because I'll be tracking every shift in this geopolitical chessboard as it unfolds.